This is the Course 2 and 3 end-of-year Gameboard project, and I am Mrs. McCowan. Let's take a look at the rubric. In order to receive the points that you would like to earn to receive an A, there is a 40 to 0 point scale. Your grade will be based on design and creativity, questions that you've incorporated in your board game, format and purpose, following directions, and content and difficulty. How do I get an A on my project? Well, let's check it out. To get an A, you're going to have to score high in these categories, scoring 40 points overall. Your grade is based out of 200 points. So let's check out these categories in which you need to get 40 points. First, everything in your game board needs to be neat and created, and directions are completely followed. Next, there need to be 40 questions and answers, and they are well incorporated into your game. The purpose of the game relates directly for Course 2 to equations and inequalities. If you're in Course 3, pre-algebra, it must have slopes and functions. And the game board represents that theme. Directions must be provided with your game that perfectly and clearly state how to play the game. They must be neatly typed with minimal grammatical errors, preferably 0 grammatical errors. Questions and rules of the game are appropriate level and not too difficult and not too easy. How do I get an A? Like previously stated, your total score is out of 200 points. To receive an A, you must get 180 to 200 points on the rubric. To get a B, you must score 160 to 179 on the rubric. To get a C, you must score 140 to 159 on the rubric. To get a D, you must score 120 to 139. Anything less than 119 points, it will be scored as an F. Here are some examples from previous years. This game board was very creative in that it had a place for the students to end up going, but if you take a look at the game board was very short, and this was too easy to play, so they did not receive the full 40 points for that. If you take a look again at the game board, they were very creative with who they chose as their characters, and they even had extra manipulatives for their game, but they lacked the amount of spaces that made this game more difficult. This game was very easy to win and play time was only 5 minutes, which was too short. Now the next game, this game was not creative at all. There was minimal color and creativity with only one piece of yellow construction paper used. They did have pawns, which were nice to use in the game, and they did have 40 questions that were incorporated. They did not provide the answers to their questions, and this was a problem. This is the game again. They also incorporated dice into their game, and they had their instructions on their game board. This game board had a creative flair. It was about Pirates of the Caribbean. They incorporated this very well into their game board, and they had many spaces on their game board for you to go. This game board also came with 40 questions and an answer sheet that was posted on their game board. They had a treasure box. If you won the game, you ended up at the treasure box and won all of the pirates' treasure. They also included a map of Florida and the Caribbean coming from Spain to make this game more authentic and to add more creativity. This is one of their pawns. They created their own players for the game. This next game was very colorful and creative. They had many spaces on the game, none of which were written on, so the directions were key for this game. Also, they included 40 cards, which were good for this game. Here are their pawns. You can use pawns from other games, or you can create your own. These pawns were from Candyland. Here's an example of what an answer sheet might look like. I apologize, it's on its side. They have all of the questions labeled here and the answers. Here's a game that went on two sides of the game board, so you had to go around a swampy area. This was very creative, and they made their own pawns, which were made out of cranes. Here's another game board in which they used 3D figures. This is the same game board. They had their 40 questions here, and they had to start here, go across, and then come back to the Bridge of Success. There's their pawn, and here's the Bridge of Success. Including things like this that are 3D show your creativity and are encouraged. Here are the directions for Math Mania. They incorporated them onto the game board. They also added glitter along the sides. They included their cards on their game board and spaces to go around. One thing that was odd about this game and was hard to understand were these colored in spaces. So you need to make sure that you explain what those are on your game board. Okay, let's look at some more examples. They show their rules right here. No cheating. You may use scratch paper, independent work when solving the problems. Nobody can give anyone the answer. People can help explain what to do but not give the answers. To win the game, you must go around the board one time. These are excellent rules that specify how to play the game. Here's the game for baseball. This is baseball, and they were playing baseball in this game. It was an excellent game, though I would have liked to see more written on the game board on these pieces. They had to rely a lot on what the directions said. This is that game again, the start. Here are rules. A lot of people included in their rules, no cheating. This is why on the rubric I say 40 points. This is important. This is not how you spell answer. Answer is spelled differently. So make sure that you know how to spell correctly before you put it on your board. That will make you lose points for incorrect spelling. This board was very colorful. This group decided to make their own cube. They didn't want to use the dice from a different game. This group was very colorful, and they used the computer to finalize their cards, and then they wrote on the back of them. They created their own play pieces with bottle caps. This is the front of their box. They used duct tape to decorate. This group, they made their own cube, and they made their own box. At the end, you're going to be asked to rate your group, and you will receive a group rating from everyone else. This will be part of your grade. Here's an example of a very large board. This game was very large and it took up 2 desks. Make sure that you think about the size. This game was very colorful and they ran out of time because they were coloring too much. So make sure you don't run out of time to do your cards. This game was very hard to understand because you had to refer to the symbols, so they lost points for difficulty, being too hard to understand how to move about the game board. This game was very fun, and this group got an A. They involved both sides of the board, and you had to cross a bridge. They also included a part from another game. This is from the game where you have to bop the middle of the board, and this became their dice. And here, whenever you landed on a cue, that indicated question or a chance cards. They incorporated many cards in their game. Here's an example of creativity. They included a fish pond. This group made theirs after the game Sorry. This group incorporated different characters in their game, though it was very unoriginal and we did not know how to move about this game board. What is this? This is another game board that you just go, how do I do this? Very uncreative. This was the game board I'm talking about that was very large. It took up 2 desks and most of the people had to use it on the floor. Think about the scale of your game board before you begin. These are answers to a game. This is very sloppy and messy. This lost 10 points for sloppiness and not being able to read what the answers were. Remember, you need 40 questions, not 21. So, let's get ready to make our games and have fun. If you need extra help, you can go back and watch this video again, ask Mrs. McCown a question, or come in the morning for extra help with your game board. Thanks for watching.